one again. So, again, if as your coefficient A becomes larger than 1, it kind of pulls it up, so it becomes narrower. And then if A is less than 1, if it's smaller than 1, between 0 and 1, it's like you're squishing it down. Right? It's going to squash it down a little bit so it becomes a little lighter. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the next part. We can summarize it in a couple ways, right? Just as a quick reminder, these are the basics. If A is positive, it's happy. It opens upwards. If A is negative, it's unhappy. It opens downwards. I like writing smiley faces. There must be something with me. I don't know. If the absolute value of A is bigger than 1, it's going to be narrower, right? And if the absolute value of A is less than 1, right? If it's it's less than 1 between 0 and 1, then it's going to be squished down to be wider. Okay, so for each one of these, determine whether the graph will open upwards or downwards, and whether it be wider or narrower. So the very first one, Jenna, is going to open upwards or downwards? Up. Deja, is it going to be narrower or wider or the same?
I'm not sure.
Natalia?
No.
Narrower, because A is bigger than 1. Next one. Callie. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, Callie.
Downwards.
Downwards. Ryan, is it going to be narrower, wider, or the same?
Wider.
Wider, because the coefficient A is less than 1. Okay, David, next one over here. Is it going to be upwards or downwards? Up, why? Yes? Because my 2 is positive. Okay, Deja is going to be narrower or wider, or the same? So everybody, we're looking at this number right here. If it's positive, it opens upwards. If it's negative, it opens downwards. If it's bigger than 1, it's narrower. If it's less than 1, if it's smaller than 1, it's wider.
Narrower.
It's going to be narrower. Correct. Shania, next one. Last one. Up or down?
Down.
Down. Alex, wider, narrower, or the same?
Wider.
So what's my coefficient?
Negative.
Negative. Oh, -1.
1.
Right. So yeah, so it's a little bit tricky. So is the value of it, ignoring the sign, less than 1. Since it's exactly the same as 1, then it's the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was a tricky one. All right, good? Does that make sense for folks?
Why is it the same?
Because it's the coefficient is 1, it's -1. So so since the coefficient is -1, there's an invisible 1 here. The negative part tells you whether it's up or down. The number part of it, ignoring the sign, tells you whether it's wider or narrower or the same. So since the coefficient is -1, 1 is the number part of it. So that tells you it's the same. Yeah. Okay, so we're done with that handout. Now we're going to move on to think we're moving on to this one. Double check. Let me just double check this before I give it to you. Graphing, oh, graphing strategies. Okay, strategies first. Oh yeah, this will take us. This is this one. So we're moving on to quadratic function graphing strategies. So now we're going to look at this again is going to be so like remember how that first sheet on Unit 4 was kind of your Bible, that first page. This is going to be your Bible for graphing these folks. So hang on to this. This is going to be a super important page for you. Grab on yourself. All right. This one is very, very, very important. Okay. So the first step is, here's my example. So remember, function f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So here's my example. Y equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 2. What's my a, what's my b, what's my c? Write it down on the side. A equals, B equals, C equals. Everybody fill those in. I'm calling people randomly in 15 seconds. Check with your neighbors. Make sure they have the same one as you do.
Check your
Yeah.
Oh, negative two?
These
Oh, so in that one,
These
you
are like
don't
plus.
ignore the sign.
You basically never ignore the sign here. You don't write the plus, but it will be plus 3.
Okay.
All right. So what's my A? Okay. So here's okay. So everyone take a look for a second. This is my function. The number in front of the x squared, that's my A. What's the number in front of the x squared? The number in front of the x, that's my b. The number by itself, that's my c. So these are called my coefficients. The numbers in front of the x, the variables, in front of the x's. So what's the number in front of the x squared? David, what's the number in front of the x squared? On the side. Can you folks see it okay?
Yeah.
What's the number in front of the x squared? What is that? 3. So that's my A. My A is 3. Alex, what's the number in front of what's my B?
12? No,
Almost.
negative 12, negative 12.
Negative 12. All right, number in front of my x is negative 12. Shania, what's my C?
2.
2. Great. So those are my coefficients. Does it open upwards or downwards? That depends entirely upon my A. Is it happy or sad?
It's happy.
It's happy. A is positive, it's happy. Right? If it's unhappy, if A is less than 0, it opens downwards. A is negative. So, does that make sense for folks? All right, how about the vertex? Okay, so this is the cool part. This is the super cool part. You can find the min and the max. The minimum and the maximum of a quadratic is its vertex. You can find the vertex without any calculus at all. By this really cool nifty thing. X at the vertex is equal to negative b over 2a. Super cool. So here, I figure out what my x is at the vertex, negative b over 2a, and then I plug that into the formula to my, to my function y equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 2 to figure out what the y is that goes with that. Right? Because if I have the x, I can find the y. So is everyone with me? If I know the x at the vertex, I can find the y. How do I find it? I take the x, I plug it into the y equals something with x in it, right? To get the y. So let's see, here's my A, B, and C, everybody find my X. My X is the vertex, X equals negative B, right, what the B is up here, over 2 times A, right, what the A is. Everybody write this in, fill in what the B is. So plug in the B, where's the B? And what's my A? Write them in. All right, so we'll kind of come around and check and make sure people have filled those in. Yep. Yep. Don't forget the negative in front.
And one,
Oh yeah, don't forget the negative in front. The negative in front. It's negative and then this is negative 12. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, your A is 2, right?
A is negative. Oh, yeah. Right. A is, yeah, what's A? Perfect.
what does X equal?
That's the X at the vertex.
Oh,
Now, would you folks feel better? So this is usually called H. Are people happier calling it H? The vertex is usually called H comma K. So H is the X at the vertex. Do you want me to call it X or do you want to call it H? I'll put the,
Probably do H and K because we'll use it later.
okay,
yeah, that's what I was gonna,
all right,
whatever they do on the homework.
yeah.
I want to get used to
So
it.
we call this H. H is the, so this is H comma, which is H. So H is negative, and then my B is negative 12. Multiply by 2 times my A is 3. So negative cancels out. Is everyone all right with that part? And taking a negative of negative. So that becomes 12 over 6, which is 2. Is that what everybody got for that? So I know that my X coordinate at the vertex, my H, is 2. I need to find my Y. So how do I find my Y? I plug it into the function. So my K is equal to, what is it? I'm going to write down my function just like it is. 3 giant parentheses squared minus 12 giant parentheses plus 2. What goes inside of there? What's my H?
H is 2.
2. My X is 2. All right, so do folks understand why we're doing this? Does everyone understand how we found 2? So that's my X at the vertex. That's what we call H. So I'm going to plug that in to my formula for X to figure out what my Y is, what my K is at the vertex. All right, my Y at the vertex is what we call K. So I'm going to find my K by plugging in H in for X. So I'll put 2 in for X, and I'll figure out what the Y value at the vertex is. So that's 3 times 4 minus 12 times 2 is 24 plus 2. 3 times 4 is 12, so it becomes 12 minus 24 plus 2. So altogether I have $14, I owe $24, I have negative $10. So-
Negative 12 times negative 12, positive 24?
I don't have a negative 12 times a negative 12.
Yeah, the negative 12 squared. Oh, that's, times, yeah, or times 2, negative 12.
Negative 12 times 2,
Oh, times 2,
yeah.
okay.
So then my vertex is going to be h comma k, right? My vertex, h comma k is 2 comma negative 10. Right? Or how do folks feel about this one? Okay, so give me thumbs, like totally have it, not so sure,
No.
totally lost. Okay, so if you're unsure, I'm gonna have everyone explain to your neighbor. So pick a neighbor, explain to your neighbor.
Yeah.
So you two explain to each other, Ryan, David, and then you two explain to each other.
24 plus 2.
Eric and Shania explain to each other, and Alex, Gabe explain to each other. So here's the thing. The person who is less certain, hey guys, one thing. Person who's less sure, I want them to do the explaining. Because by explaining it, you have to put it into your own words, right? That'll help you understand it better. So, Eric, Shania. Eric?
Well, I'm just trying